ancestral wisdom. I just don't hear a lot of that in hip hop right now. And I feel like people will respond to it. And it's crazy because I do feel like I have had my finger on the pulse of humanity a few different times where I was like, damn it, had I just had $1 million of marketing, I'd be a star by now. But
What's up, good people? This is Eric Taylor, Big E Astrology, with another amazing Knowledge is Love Astrology podcast. And today on episode 222, I have the amazing guest. We're talking about a little bit of an actress, but this right here is a brilliant and talented Gemini Female Emcee, Miss Farah Shea. Farah, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
Wow, thank you, Big E. 222. Angel numbers in the house.
I love it. I love it.
I love that. I feel special.
Well, you are special. And we'll definitely get into some astrology. But to me, I want to get into your career, your purpose, a little bit of your birth chart. But I like to start off the show and warm up the room with the audience, especially with having an amazing lyricist like yourself on the show. Spit a little a cappella rhyme. Later on, we'll get into really one of your popular songs in the video. Okay, and I'll let you introduce that. But the floor is yours, my friend. And I'll spit after you, but I want to, hear what you're working with today and share with the audience.
Wonderful. Well, this one is called The Year of the Goddess, and it goes, it's the year of the goddess, the hottest season of all. I sent a message to the mothers and they heeded my call. I sent a signal to the sirens, now they're singing my song. I told the heathens and healers that we needed them all. I've got the soul of a rebel, I won't smother or sell it. Burning sage in the cellar, all the witches can smell it. They can sense my intentions, I hear their words when I'm dreaming. I know our power is mountain, it's damn near up at the ceiling. We've been quiet for too long. Patience is a virtue, but it's time to be wrong. The man poisoned our water, now he's stealing our children. Send our boys off to slaughter while he's raping our women. Did it all for the dollar, for his wheeling and dealing. But his karma is coming for the killing and stealing. It's the year of the goddess, and I got a good feeling. It's the year of the goddess, now it's time for some healing. Spread love.
All right, audience. Salute. Stand up. Give the Aquarius moon, Gemini sun, a round of applause. I love that. And that's so deep, right? Because we are in a universal 8 year and the divine feminine is coming back so strong and just, So before I even go, I want to know where and when did you write this, and what sparked you to write that song?
So this is one of my favorite rhymes, and it's perfect for a cappella. And I've actually never released it. I'm still waiting to find the perfect vehicle for this song.
Do you have a beat for it already and everything, or?
I don't. I've shared it online before. I remember I shared it on TikTok a couple years ago, and it went semi-viral, not crazy, but I think it had 40, 50,000 views, and people really loved it. Yeah. And it came to me, I think probably about 8 years ago. I was kind of ruminating on this idea of Year of the Goddess. I think that it was around my birthday and I was in Palm Springs. I had embarked on a little plant medicine,
cool.
A little mushrooms.
Mushrooms. Okay, I was gonna say, was it ayahuasca? I've never tried ayahuasca. I'm an OG. I've done shrooms years ago.
Yes, just a small dose, and my friends had pulled some cards for me, and we were just kind of
jamming.
jamming, kind of feeling like you even talked about it when you read my chart. It's just sometimes I just get downloads and just something came to me and I just said it's the year of the goddess, like feminine energy is back. And this was, like I said, probably about 8 years ago, possibly even, no, I would say 8 years ago. And that has kind of come to the forefront more recently, but there wasn't lots of like feminine empowerment in hip hop back then. And I was like, I want to bring in like, magic energy, like white witch energy, ancestral wisdom. I just don't hear a lot of that in hip hop right now. And I feel like people will respond to it. And it's crazy because I do feel like I have had my finger on the pulse of humanity a few different times where I was like, damn it, had I just had $1 million of marketing, I'd be a star by now. But I was like, I really just felt something. I just felt a movement that was beginning to happen. And ever since, I feel it more and more all the time. And that's why I like to spit that rhyme now, because I just feel like it's just as timely as it was 7 years ago. And when I wrote my first song, Fucking Precious, it's a female empowerment song. And that was probably like, 10 years ago. So that's something that's been important to me. But the cool thing about that song is it's not really just about, when I'm talking about Year of the Goddess, it's also, the goddess of healing masculine and feminine energy. It's not putting one higher than the other.
Amen.
It's each of us stepping into our own power and our own strength together, and realizing that femininity isn't a weakness. The things that have been associated with femininity, oftentimes like spirituality and empathy and even sexuality.
They're powerful. You guys are the portals and the healers.
Yes.
So, okay, wait, you said a mouthful, but before I get to that, because it's going to correlate with the chart, I got an MC on, so I'm an MC. I got to spit with you. Okay. So this is from a joint from my first album, Heart and Soul. I was like, hey, yo, my hip hop energy level is more than supreme, and I take it very serious because I'm a true fiend. Yo, this gleaming extra glitz is sounding like the pits. You're not truly loving it. Oh my God, sorry. You're not truly loving it. Hip hop has got a heart, a tempo, and a soul. And when you pimp and play with it, you lost all control. Your goal should be love, skill, and respect, not immature flossing just to get a rep. Your mind's unkept, so be careful because your steps are wrong. And just because they're playing it doesn't mean they even know your song. Change the title and the vital way of dropping it. I'm mocking it and rocking it. You're dirty wearing socking it. And yes, I'm clocking it because your time is running low. And if you love hip hop, you wouldn't glorify no dough. So what about a DJ and the real flow and all the B-boys on a cardboard, Joe? Sometimes I think I'm in a dreamy nightmare because I remember when everybody doing it used to care. Sometimes I think I'm in a dreamy nightmare, but remember, E-Complete always cares. And then the hook goes like this. I got a hip hop heart and a hip hop soul. Hip hop will always take control. Kick it for the kids and the brothers doing bids. Cause hip hop is where I live. Cause hip hop is where I live.
I love when you said that hip hop, it has a soul.
Yeah, hip hop has got a heart, a temple, and a soul.
Yeah.
And when you pimp and play with it, you lost all control.
Yeah, that's when people sully the art form.
Well, and I want to get back to that with you before we even jump back to the correlations I thought of with your chart. Like, I could tell, and the first time I heard your music, I said, wow, she loves hip hop.
Yes.
And that sparks up and warms my heart and soul, because that's the thing with me, Farah. This isn't like a game. This isn't like a ploy. When I was rhyming back in the days, I could have totally sold out and did, killing brothers, sex rhymes, misogynistic lyrics to get a record deal, sell my soul. I could have done whatever. I always was like, no, you rhyme for a reason, and your words have such power. I knew this as a young man. And so for you, share about your love with hip hop and maybe even some of your favorite MCs and artists, like who kind of inspired you?
Hmm. My favorite MCs would be Andre 3000 and Kendrick Lamar.
Oof.
I love the Gemini Kings. Andre 3000 is actually born on the same day as me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. The Gemini list of MCs, right? You throw those two in, Tupac, Notorious, Big, Kanye. Geminis are like, y'all got it.
Yeah. And you know who else was born on my same birthday? It's pretty crazy. Lisa, Left Eye Lopez, and Jada Kiss, all born on May.
Oh, that's right. Jada's a Gemini. Oh my God. Yeah. Jada is so underrated. And Lisa, she was, God rest her soul.
So artistic and kind of weird. So I tend to be drawn to the kind of weirdo rappers. That's why I always loved Andre and Kendrick, because they just bring so much artistry to it. And it's just like almost like ethereal. And I wish I had this quality. I strive for it, but they just are constantly changing up their flow, changing up their cadence. You never know what's coming next, but it always makes perfect sense. And I just got so much artistry. I think everybody feels that when they hear Andre and Kendrick. It's like, these are artists. They're
true poets. They're artists. You're right.
They're poets. Yeah. They're not trying to make a commercial song. A lot of their songs are commercial successes, but that doesn't seem to be their aim. There's just something inside of them. They just see the world a little differently. And it's just their own beautiful, unique perspective. And it's silly and it kind of makes you laugh. Like Andre just has like almost like, you know, he's not trying to be gangster at all.
Well, even like that whole shake it like a Polaroid picture.
Yeah,
just shake it. Yeah, and a Gemini, like he's a genius. And I'm so sorry that he kind of got his little, or his big sickness, his phobia, and stopped really performing. But since him and Big Boy have, taken, or really stopped, he has done a ton of features, and I love all of his features, with Nas, with Kanye, with so many people. Like, he still will just drop a hot 16 or a hot verse on someone's joint, and you're like, thank you. Like, I need, like, you're like, thank you. I needed that.
His features are so crazy. He has one, I think it is like with Rick Ross. I wish I could remember the name of I think it's like 16 bars. All I need is 16.
Oh, I think I heard that. Yeah.
He raps for like 120 bars or something. Like, crazy. He just keeps going on. And then Rick Ross is like, huh? What? Okay.
Oh my
God. My best to follow that. So I love all of his features. But you know what? It's like he's just on his little journey right now. He just feels like maybe there's, when I've heard his interviews, he doesn't feel like there's, in his stage in life, he's older, he doesn't have anything to talk about. But I'm like, everyone wants to just hear about every journey in your life. I think that would be a very interesting perspective. But if you don't feel compelled, if you don't feel inspired, then there's nothing you can do. Enjoy that flute.
Yeah. I mean, that was not, I wasn't really feeling it, but that's okay. I still got mad love for the brother. So back to you, and I love, the MCs you selected. Yeah. But when you mentioned the downloads and even writing the Year of the Goddess, I think that's so beautiful, because I mentioned you're the Gemini Sun and Aquarius Moon, but you're the Sagittarius rising with Uranus on the ascendant, right? And Uranus being the spiritual awakener, right? Connected to Osiris, ancient Kemet, but like the downloads, the weird, bizarre, unique, innovative, futuristic energy on the ascendant, your I am energy and your aura. Do you feel like Farah was always different? And like, who was really like young, like maybe even like 10-year-old Farah? Like,
I was always very different. I never felt like I fit in. And then maybe that's why I was okay with stepping into a space that is so different from the culture that I'm raised in. Salt Lake City, Utah, Mormon culture. Like, there's like ongoing joke when I rap. People are like, where are you even from? And I'm like, Salt Lake City. And they're like, oh yeah, of course, the hip hop capital of the world, Salt Lake City. It just doesn't make any sense.
Tell them like, that's all right. I'm putting the salt on the map.
Exactly. And well, not even though, because I don't credit them at all. They get no credit. No, they get a little bit of credit for making me feel comfortable with being weird, because I never fit in Utah.
Right.
And I, you know what, maybe it wasn't Utah, maybe it would have just been anywhere. When I learn more about my chart, maybe that's just part of my
Well,
personality.
Uranus on the ascendant is always going to make you the rebel, the black sheep. If everyone's going right, Farah's like, I'm going to the left, to the left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just who you naturally are.
I'd say as a child, it was harder to reconcile with, because I didn't want to be the black sheep. I wanted to fit in.
No, I know.
I wanted to be well liked, and I wanted to be popular, and like I wanted to fit in with everyone else. I was raised in a culture where almost everyone around me was Mormon. And I remember at one time, like the missionaries were talking to me and a bunch of my friends that were Mormon, and I came home and I was like, Mom, I want to get baptized and be Mormon. And she was like, babes, she said, when you're 18, if you still want to be Mormon, more power to you. But as a child, no. She's like, no, I'm not. Because my mom was raised Mormon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And our whole family left the church. Eventually, over the course of, I would say, 20 years. I think my mom was like probably the first person in her family to be like, this isn't for me. Like, I don't really believe this.
Yeah.
So she was like, I know they're not telling me anything that I don't know. She's like, I was born and raised in that church. I don't want you to be baptized in it as a child. If you are an adult and that's what you choose, I'll support whatever religion you want to be.
Right.
So I wanted to fit in, but I just didn't. Partly because, you know, I was a different religion, or I didn't really have any religion, which kind of people didn't get. And then my dad, you know, my dad is a very handsome North African man with like kind of like a French accent. He was a hairdresser, and everyone's like, oh, your dad's gay. He's got like long hair and he's a hairdresser. So like some of the things were things I couldn't change, that were just my family structure. You know, my dad speaks Arabic and French and is foreign. Wow. His name is Salahuddin Mokrani, but he went by Murad. My mom
I like that. I like the way you said it.
Yeah, my mom's like, you know, spiritual, more hippie vibes, like has traveled all over the world. My mom owned a travel agency my whole life. So my mom's been to like 120 countries.
Wow.
So when you come to my house, there's souvenirs and art pieces from all over the world. So it just like, I think was so weird for people in Utah to like see my background. And for me, their lifestyle seemed pretty weird as well too, because I would travel around and I was like, I love fashion, I love art, I love big city vibes and cosmopolitan things. And my dad was very instrumental in always telling me, like, you're not just an American girl. Like, I don't want you to completely lose my culture.
Amen.
Like, you're North African, you're Algerian, you're also French, and that's really important for you to know. So he always would tell me about the amazing things that my grandfather did. My grandfather was a revolutionary. He fought for the Algerian independence in the 60s.
Wow.
But the crazy thing is he was married to a French woman, and they were fighting the French.
That's
so
deep.
The only way I could even describe it is it would be if like a Palestinian and an Israeli were like married right now. Like, it was a huge deal. Like, her French family almost kind of disowned her for marrying an Algerian man. And then he had to go 5 years after they got married, and he has 2 half French kids, go fight against the French. So like, I just have like such a rich family history.
Wow.
You know, my grandfather was the advisor to the first president of Algeria. There's something in North African Islamic culture called Sharif, which means you're descendant from the Prophet Muhammad. My family's Sharif. So it's like I just felt like so many strong ancestral cultural ties to a place that I'd never really been. And I'm like over here in suburban Utah. So it's just like a lot of conflicting things for young Farah. I didn't start to handle it better till I was later in life. And then I just started to embrace the weirdness and just kind of follow it wherever it led me. And somehow when it led me into hip hop, I just was writing songs of all different genres at the time. And I've always loved rap and hip hop. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll just try to write a rap song. And I loved it so
What age
much.
was that? When do you remember writing your first rhyme?
I was like 20 or 21.
Okay.
So like about 17 years ago, 18 years ago.
So obviously, you'd already loved the music and the culture, but
Yes.
then you decided, like, well, can
I mean, I was like, I'm just gonna try it. It's fun. I always loved rhymes, and I've always been writing songs to myself and like little ditties my whole life. So I was like, oh, I'll just kind of try this. And I didn't have a beat. I would just listen to anyone from LA knows we have K-Day 93.5, the old school hip hop station. So I would just listen to K-Day and I would practice it to a bunch of different beats. So I try all different kind of cadences and all different speeds and flows. And then eventually I felt like, okay, I've got a cool rap song. And I remember I would just be out at parties and be like, hey guys, I wrote a rap song. And they were like, bitch. Okay. Sure you did. I was like, no, I did. And then I did it and they were like, wow, that's actually really good. And at the time I was studying theater and I love theater and performing, but I just didn't feel confident in sharing that with people when I was out and about, because I would tell them, oh, I'm an actress. I went to school. I studied theater at USC.
Okay.
But they would be like, oh, well, what have I seen you in? Or what have you done? And I just didn't have any credits to speak of.
Right.
Have an agent. And it's just kind of, I just felt like a little bit embarrassed and like almost ashamed. Like I thought I was good, but there's no way for me to prove that to anyone. You know what I mean?
You got to do it in some independent films and student films. You start somewhere.
Basically what I started doing is I would be like, I'm an actress, but I'm also like a songwriter, because what happened is I started working for a music producer between my junior and senior year. Okay. And so I started writing songs and he started to help me produce them. So I would be like, well, I also rap and write songs. And then people would be like, oh, whatever, like then do it right now. And that's the beautiful thing about hip hop. You need nothing. It's so empowering. All you need is your voice. That's so right. I would do a rhyme for them, and it just it made such an impact on people, and people remembered it, and they'd be like, that girl raps. And I just started thinking, I was like, this is a way that I can touch people and fulfill my need to be creative, all at the same time, without anybody having to give me a chance, without having to book that role. Like I am booking myself.
You create your own chances, your own reality. Yeah.
So that's when I started focusing on that. And then later, as the years went on, I just started thinking more about also being a guest in hip hop and being a white girl in a predominantly, in something that was created by Black culture, and how to be respectful as a guest, and how to not be like a culture vulture, and how to talk about my experiences instead of just trying to put on Blackness onto me.
And see, wait, let me stop you there, because that's so beautiful, because what you said is so powerful and so true, and that even gives you the validity to jump in and jump rope and take your turn, because so many people. So when I grew up, it wasn't, now granted, in the culture growing up, it was Black, Latino, and definitely, we had some Irish, Italian kids. It was poor whites, in the inner cities in New York, rhyming in all the boroughs, but not even just rhyming, because it was mainly, there were a few Latino MCs, but it was mainly Black pit kids, right? But in terms of the bombing, the graffiti artists, the B-boys, the breakdancing, the DJs, right? Every culture, because see, I grew up near Rocksteady Park, okay? And Crazy Legs and these guys are from my neighborhood and Rocksteady crew. So it was heavy Boricuas, right? Crazy Puerto Ricans, mad skills, and like just doing their things. And so it was everybody. I remember I remember in junior high school when, different crews would come up, instead of, that was a way to stop getting into fights. And then we would just battle, and, we would, like do boogie moves and stuff like that. And one of my good buddies, he's a stand-up comic now. He was the great, B-boy and bomber, not bomber, but a great electric boogie artist. And, and he was a Jewish kid. And so like the culture was very open. My good buddy, his father, he helped take hip hop to African Bambaataa and Zulu Nation, helped take it to London and overseas to England.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my good buddy Smokey Fontaine, who
That's
wrote a book with DMX, and we used to all hang out with like Zulu and wear the wallabies and stuff like that. So I'm like a younger brother of hip hop. You know what I mean? And I remember when everything was first happening and coming out, and obviously when it started in 73, I was still like a baby. So, but when they started to really do the block parties all over, and then this and that, and I was coming up, it was incredible. You know what I mean? And like to see, Grandmaster Flash and Melly Mel, and, and just all these different, MCs and Cold Crush brothers, it's something that I can't take, I can try to like bring people to it, but you had to like live it in the sense that everyone knew that it was something special, but it was also just like the joy, the freedom, the existence, like who we were. It was that expression, and it was ours. It wasn't our parents. It wasn't jazz. And that's the thing that's sad, I think, about hip hop, because hip hop never wanted it to be infiltrated and taken over by the labels and stuff like that. And I had told a good buddy of mine in the mid to late 80s, this is when it was starting to get more and more popular with the radio. I said, let me tell you something. Hip hop is going to run the world. It's going to be everywhere, television, film, especially after seeing Fresh Fest and, oh my God, all the different movies, that came out, Wild Style, Beat Street. I knew that it was going to be, and now, right, when you watch a TV show or a commercial, it's like 85% hip hop influence, hip hop instrumentals in the background. It's everywhere. Hip hop is literally taking over the world.
Yeah.
And so, but you saying that, I feel like that's what I respected, I think, about Eminem. And some people don't like him, some people do, but I felt like he, kind of really did grow up loving, you hear him speak like he loves Slick Rick, LL, like he really studies the culture, the art form of it. Mm-hmm. And I think there's some people who, and now it's just with the mumble trap crap, I can't deal with that. But
I don't like it either.
I'm sorry, like I can't. But that's also, a thing in terms of, and I want to get back to your chart, because there's a purity that I think that I see and hear in your music, obviously with the skill and talent. And I wanted to ask you, do you feel with Neptune and Mars and Capricorn in the second house, which is kind of, your speech, your five senses, how you can earn money, survival, it speaks to like how people could perceive you one way, because the second house is actually, right, the throat chakra, but it's also kind of like your face, right? So people could see you, and Neptune, they can idealize you or try to define you like, oh, who's this girl, and whatever. But then it's like almost that Mars and Capricorn comes out, the creativity of the Neptune, but then the Mars comes out and it's like, oh, I got bars.
Yeah.
Right? I got bars from Venus to Mars. I got bars to give you lyrical scars, right? Like, do you sense or feel that energy internally?
I do. And that's why I think it's really important that I take my lyrics and my writing seriously. I don't, I really do think about every rhyme that I write very meticulously. A lot of people think that I freestyle. I think we talked about this. I was like, I don't freestyle. And I'm very, very honest about that.
And that's okay. Not every MC does.
Not every MC does.
Yeah.
And the reason that I don't is because I was like, I just feel like, as I said, I am a guest, and also, as you touched upon, hip hop is inclusive. I don't think that
Totally.
anyone ever counts me out, but there's a little bit of when you see
Prove it.
you're like, all right, is this gonna be just some girl trying to like pretend like she's from the ghetto or some shit, which would just be so infuriating. And what I found is the fact that people can tell I spend time and I really do love this art form, and I really am trying to talk about my own unique perspective.
Yeah.
That's why I like to talk about feminine energy and empowerment and things like that, things that I really wasn't even hearing that much in hip hop, because I want to battle against the perception, the visual perception, and show them that I actually really do care about this art form. And it's always received well. It's almost never ever received poorly. And in fact, the only time usually that people have anything to say about it is, you know, it'll usually just be like a white person just being like, oh, well, this is offensive. I was like, well, none of my black friends think it's offensive.
Exactly.
I've rapped in front of KRS-One before, and he
Really?
was like, okay, yeah.
That's KRS-One is my favorite MC, just so you know. I've met him a few times, and we actually rhymed at the same studio with my producer, Fred One's TME Studios in the Bronx. And I met Just Ice, and Just Ice heard my second album, heard the title track, True Speaker, of my second album. And we're in the studio, and he's like, that's you? And I said, yeah, that's me. That's my song, and that's my verse. And he was like, I like that. That's tight, man. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, a legend, Just Ice, you know, going way, way back with Just Ice and KRS-One. Like, so when Just Ice said that, that was all I needed. Like, I didn't care if anybody else liked it. I was like, Just Ice likes it. I'm good.
Exactly. That's how I felt. Like I just had the just complete serendipitous luck to be at a party at Sundance Film Festival where KRS-One was DJing, he was emceeing. I just felt like this was probably the one moment in my life that I got a little taste and the flavor of what you were talking about, what it felt like.
Where was this at? Where was this at?
Hip-hop party. This was at Sundance Film Festival. I think it was like 2016, maybe either 2015 or 16.
Wow.
And I was just there. My friend was hosting this party. will.i.am was there.
Yeah.
And KRS-One, they were promoting some sort of I can't remember if it was like a film or documentary that they were doing. And so they were having a party, and it was in this like basement bar in Utah. And it was a true moment where I was like, this is why it's called MC, because he was the master of ceremonies.
That's right.
He got everybody hyped. He spit some freestyle.
And nobody does it better than Chris. Nobody. Yeah. In terms of a live performance, the only other MC I felt, honestly, that's on his level in terms of when you see someone live, that they're drenched in sweat, they like die on the microphone for you. The only other one besides KRS-One is Busta Rhymes. Pure, like, you know, because there's a lot of great MCs, but when you see them live, you're like, Nas, Jay-Z, they're dope. But live, Common's pretty good, Tribe, De La, but pure live energy, rhyming, and Redman's up there too. But KRS-One and Busta Rhymes, you feel like they like took their lung or their kidneys out of their body and just threw it on the stage for you, like, it's hip hop.
Yeah. Well, he had everybody, you know, under his spell, and we were all so into it. And I was like, this is the coolest party I've ever been to. There was a lot of people there. I'd say at least like, you know, 150, 200 people, but it was still an intimate setting.
Right.
And at one point they, you know, KRS got back on the deck and he started DJing.
Okay.
And then they had like some local rappers, I guess. And Rakim was there as well.
Rakim is my.
And so will.i.am was there, and they had like a little cipher going on stage, and they were just passing the mic around between them and some local rappers.
Oh my God.
I was like right at the front, and just like wonder, sometimes my confidence ebbs and flows.
Okay.
Like, I think that's a Gemini thing. Like, we're like, I'm the greatest. And the next day it's like, I am the most insecure person alive. So I'm like, every day I'm like, would I have done that again? But I was like, no, I have to push myself to do things like this. But I just got on stage. The stage was like yay high, and I just stepped up. And then I was kind of standing there, and then they were like passing it around, the mic around. I was like, give me the mic.
There you go. And what'd you spit? What'd you?
I spit a fun kind of like nasty rhyme. I can send you the video if you want. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, I want to hear it. Go ahead, share it.
Okay. It was like, this just ain't hot off the presses. I'm a sexy vixen feeling reckless, and I'm mingling in sexy dresses. All I need's a pearly necklace. Got a 3-letter word left on my checklist. Ends with X. Yep, you guessed it, but my guest list is so exclusive. It's hard to get between these shoes, kid. But my objective is not to be objectified, so I'm direct when I'm dealing with a sexy guy. I check my drama at the door. You're correct if you're thinking that I want to score, but I ain't a orgy. I'm just horny, like so many folks before me. I don't feel bad, not one iota. I got to bag my weekly quota. Call me for a Wednesday meeting. Give hump day a whole new meaning. Leave you gleaming, steaming, soaking wet. Simply the best you'll ever get. So I went up there and I spit that, and the whole time you can see in the video, I keep looking back and I see KRS, and he's like, he was just, like, the whole time he was kind of like, okay, like, I just got nods of approval, because I was like, if he thinks this is bad, I'm gonna just run away and hide in a hole.
Oh my God.
But the crowd went crazy. Everyone loved it. I think it was just like so shocking to see me climb up on stage and then do that.
That is freaking awesome.
It was one of the best experiences, and that also had a viral moment on TikTok. That's probably gotten at least like 100,000 views.
Really? Oh, I'd love to see that.
That was a fun video too.
So you saw KRS rocking. What did you see? Any responses or feel or get any compliments or anything from will.i.am or Rakim? Or
you know what? I wasn't even paying attention.
Yeah, you were just doing your thing.
But I was just looking at him because he was scratching the records. He was doing everything like real time.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I feel like everyone liked it. Like, so many people came up to me afterwards and were vibing out. I had other people that were like, I am like, a conscious rapper as well. I met so many cool people that night. And that's what I'm saying. Hip hop is inclusive, but you have to prove that you actually care about the art form.
Yes. You're so right about that. And I think that I know that you did that night. And it's that, I'm sure it was very empowering, because I think in life, when we push through our fears, we find that there's really nothing to fear.
Yeah.
You just have to do. You just have to Aries North Node, like initiate, take charge, like jump in, right? Yeah. And then when you do, you're like, wow, that wasn't so bad, right? Yeah. And for you have Aries in the 5th house, right? And the North Node is there now. So what type of stuff is Farah doing now, and what are you working on? And then after that, I want you to share like your information so people can find out, where they can, stream or get your music and stuff.
So right now, I'm focused on just trying to be the most prolific I've ever been. The problem that I have faced as an artist, and this is also in my chart, is, I need structure. And during my 20s, I was just kind of a little bit all over the place. I don't fault myself for that, because I think that's where I got a lot of the inspiration for stuff that I write now. But it's been tough because I haven't been as prolific as I need to be, as you need to be a successful artist. So I would just be putting out like 1 or 2 songs a year, which is fine. But it, like, my producer was like, you're one of the most talented people I know. He's like, you actually have a very good chance of being a successful musician and being able to make a career out of this, and everyone has a different degree of what they consider successful. For me, I just consider if you can make money off of your art and sustain yourself off of your art, that's successful to me. You don't have to be a household name.
Exactly.
But he's a Capricorn, and he's very much like keeps me. He's like,
You gotta
write a list,
keep
like make goals.
doing it, yeah.
And I need structure. So that has been something that I have been applying into my life. Probably I'd say the past like year, where I am putting out songs every couple of months. So
that's good.
If you follow me on Spotify, on Instagram, on TikTok, you will see I think I put out like 3 songs this year. I've got another 2 already, like I'm getting the mixes probably today or tomorrow.
Awesome.
So I'm in the process of just throwing a lot of music out there, and it's quite varied as well. Some of it is pure hip hop, some of it is more pop dance influences.
Okay.
I am just kind of letting spirit guide me however it does.
That's
and
beautiful.
Making those downloads, not judging them and saying I make this kind of music or I make that kind of music. I'm like, I'm a lyricist.
Yeah.
So I whatever kind of music I choose to write. And
that's
so
powerful being, Farah, that's powerful being that open vessel, and that you're aware of that, and that you're willing to challenge yourself, because you're right. A lot of people can get pigeonholed or self-definitions. And I think when we're open to being uncomfortable and change and going with the flow, anything can happen. And with that Aquarius moon, you got to be willing to be innovative, weird, bizarre, futuristic. Like that's.
If I'm not, then I'm actually stifling my creativity.
Yeah.
And what my producer said to me very poignantly is, he was like, well, first of all, a lot of the restrictions that we have are self-imposed.
Amen.
It's what we think everybody wants us to do. People don't really care as much about our life as we think they do. We're like, what are they going to think about my choices? And my producer's like, they'll probably just be like, oh, cool. He's like, they're probably not going to think that much of it. They're probably not going to stay awake at night wondering why you did one electronic song that's like indie pop with a little bit of hip hop, and then one hip hop song, and then one, He's like,
they'll just be like, this is a vibe. This is dope.
People will probably just think that's fun. I like that she creates all different kinds of music. And I'm not some huge artist where I feel the pressures of the label breathing down my neck.
Well, and that's the difference, right? You're not a slave to a label, and you can create how you really
what I want.
Yeah.
And so now what I'm promoting is I've got 2 new songs coming out.
Wait, give them the IG, the Spotify, the YouTube. Share that. What?
Yeah. So my stage name, it's actually just my real name. My name is Farah Shea Female, and my stage name is just Farah Shea. It's just my first and middle name.
Right.
So it's FARAH_SHEA. So that would be my Instagram and my TikTok. And I post pretty regularly on both. You'll get my original music, and also I do a lot of duets. I do a lot of remixes. In fact, my most viral videos I've ever done are remixes. I did like a WAP remix when that song came out that got over 1 million views. And I like to just hop on beats just to stay creative, even if it's not my own original music. But on my original music, if you go to my Spotify, I have like 12 to 13 songs out. There's literally something for everyone. You're going to get some like...
And that's just under Farah Shea, right?
Yes, Farah Shea. And that's, you don't need the underscore. It's just
FARAH. Okay, so everybody go and stream her music, get her some streams.
You're going to love it. There's some fun, like lovey-dovey songs, Fly Away, Angel of Grace are love songs that I wrote about my relationship with my husband.
Okay. And how long have you been married?
I've been married for 3 years.
Congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you. You'll find some female empowerment songs. You'll find some just straight dance tracks, back to the basics. My latest single, Work For Me, that you loved.
We're gonna play that soon.
That song is
now wait, let me tell you about this, right? Because I'm about to go to it. That right there, it was such it like, as the young kids say, it's a vibe, right? It really put me in the pocket, and in my head I was just like it just like, it was dope. And I also want to say, I would, I have done 2 albums, like 4 or 5 mixtapes. I still rhyme on my astrology videos. It's just who I am. I'm going to rhyme to my last breath. But I am not just slated, I'm called to do one final studio album. And I got the title before I had, I had a near-death experience in 2021 in September. And I got the title, I think, back in 2018 or 19. And I didn't really understand. It's called God Told Me to Tell You. And my first album's Hip Hop Forever. The second album's True Speaker. But it came to me, God told me to tell you. And I was like, that's pretty long. And, yeah, I'm spiritual. Like, I love God, no problem. I was like, but where did this it just came to me, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of deep. And then after almost dying and being in coma for 40 days, 85 days in the hospital, now I know why I have the title of that third album, God Told Me to Tell You. And actually, I would love if you would jump on a joint with me on the album.
Okay,
yeah,
for sure.
Okay, because that would
Just send me
be.
whatever track you want.
Say it again.
Just send me whatever track.
Oh yeah. And then even that goddess rhyme, I have a couple instrumentals that may match with that, and I'll just shoot them to you and see if you vibe with any of them. When you do that goddess rhyme, do you prefer to do it on a faster track or something slower and melodic?
I like it slower. What I first performed it on was Goosebumps by Travis Scott, which is
I don't know that. Okay.
I'm sure if I played it for you,
It's
would
more
know.
slow.
It's slow and it's very minimalist. There's very little.
Then I've got, I'll send you a track and see if it resonates with you. And if you like it, you can have it, because it is real smooth and melodic and in the pocket, almost spiritual. And when I heard you, that's just how my mind and my brain works. When I heard you spit that verse, I was like, oh my God, I think I got a track for her. That's why I was asking you, you know what I mean? So let's go to your joint, because I think it is, I just love it. And I'll let you.
I think, it's my favorite song ever that I've made as well, which is interesting because it is the most lyrically ambiguous. I would say it is also much more simple lyrics than I ever usually write. I always try to make my lyrics complex and intellectual, and then part of me was like, just let go of that, and it doesn't matter if other people think that you sound smart or if it means the exact same thing to everybody. I was like, I just want to make something almost more like that can resonate with a lot of different people for a lot of different situations. So for me, it means one thing, but for other people, it could mean something completely different, or it might just be fun to dance to. Like for me, the song is deep, the meaning is deep, but when you hear it, it just sounds like a fun dance track.
Well, I love that. And why don't you introduce the title?
So yes, this is Work For Me. It is my latest single. This is the music video. It was directed by my friend Ray, who's an amazing videographer. And I helped produce the video as well. We kind of came up with the concept together.
Okay, well, let's check this out from Miss Farah Shea, because this joint is definitely rocking and smooth.
I go, you stay, you say, no way, the price quit. I can pay the cost. And get out my face. I don't understand why you get in my way. I don't understand why you get so afraid. I don't understand why you get in my way. Baby, get out my face. Get out my face. I can never tell you there's a way to be. Gotta work that shit, cause it worked for me. Yeah, I worked it, cause it worked for me. Yeah, I worked that shit, cause it worked for me. And I run, cause I'm up to speed. You would catch my drink, take a step to me. Can you run it? Can you run let me? I'm a freak, so I freak pretty frequently. Say that there's a way to be, but this the only way for me. It's the only way.
T.
Did you?
Wow, that was, oh my God. Okay, hold on. Let me set this back to the studio. Oh my gosh. I love that.
Thank you so much. I'm very proud of that one. And the songs that I have coming out are very similar in that, like, some of them have, that one doesn't really have any rap in it, but I think some people are confused. Like, I submitted it to playlists and they were like, it's almost as if you're talking and you're not singing. I was like, they don't know that I'm a rapper. That's why I have a certain cadence when I'm performing that. Like,
But that break when you're like, get on my face, like that's so like felt like Gwen Stefani, but like rock energy. It was very like that.
You know who inspired that was Pharrell.
Yeah, okay, because that like took it. That for me took it to like another level. Like that was so perfect, and the way you brought it in, I was just like, yeah, like it was. That was the Uranus on the ascendant. That was that. Like it was like, you know, like I was just like, oh, I was feeling that.
Because I feel like the whole song, I'm like being very patient and diplomatic, which is my nature. So it's about people judging my choices and my lifestyle to be an artist, whether that be people in my family, trolls online, my friends, people that are like, wouldn't you rather just have a stable life or this and that?
But you do have a lot of support though from mom and your husband, right?
I do, and I'm lucky for that. But
yeah. No, that's amazing.
I haven't always felt like I have I've always had the support of my mom. My dad, I haven't always had support from. He supports me now because I think he just realized after, you know, so
like,
many years,
this is my daughter.
There's nothing I can do.
Was it the fact that you were rhyming, or was it your content or your lyrics?
No, it was that I was an artist in general.
Oh, he wanted you to have a regular 9-to-5 or
he wanted
lawyer or corporate
something like an engineer or a doctor. It's very common. A lot of people that are first generation, if your parents an immigrant, like they want you to be a doctor, they want you to be a lawyer, they want you to be
an engineer. Yeah, those three.
My dad, the irony is he is very artistic.
Well, you said that he was a hairdresser, so how's he going?
He's a hairdresser. He studied cinema and interior design at Sorbonne in Paris. He himself is an artist, but I don't think that all of his dreams were fully fulfilled as an artist. So he felt like as a cautionary tale to keep me away from it. And he knew artists growing up, and he was like, you know, it's just such a tough life, so much frustration. You're going to be broke, this and that. So I think he was just trying to shield me from that. Whereas my mom saw that I was talented and also saw that was probably the only way I was going to be happy. So
that lit up your heart, right?
You just kind of have to give in and just be like, I've got to love my child the way that they are. And so she was better at that. He eventually came around. But I didn't feel like there was always tons of support around me. And a lot of it is also judgment on myself. I'm very, very hard on myself. So the song is basically like, I'm not telling you how to live your life. Like if being a doctor or a businessman or caring so much about money is what makes you happy, I would never tell you there's a way to be, but I work this shit because it works for me.
That's
So
right.
you do you, and I'm gonna do me. And I'm very, very nice,
Work
and I'm cute about it. And then by the end of the song, you can tell I start losing my temper a little bit. I just start getting frustrated.
Right. And where did you film this at? Like all over LA?
We filmed it all over Los Angeles, not all over Los Angeles.
Okay.
Basically, I was looking for a really cool space on a budget.
Yeah, no, definitely.
My friend, luckily I have so many artist friends around me, so I always have people that are willing to help me make videos, be in my videos. All the girls in the videos are my friends.
Right.
So we're just really actually having fun, taking shots of tequila, dancing, rollerblading.
That's great.
But yeah, I ended up finding this space that was like a cool 90s bedroom. And I was like, I'm very much into all different kinds of retro aesthetics. I love the 1960s and 70s the most, but I like the 90s as well. And I was like, that would be fun. I've got some rollerblades. Let's do like a retro kind of vibe. This song kind of just doesn't even fit really into any time period or genre anyway. It's kind of like its own little thing. Like it's a pop-ish song, but it doesn't.
But it's still funky. Like
it's funky. It doesn't really fit into some box. So I was like, we'll do it. We'll set it in the like kind of 90s aesthetics. And we shot some stuff inside. And then we were like, let's also do some outside shots. So we went to kind of like West LA. The director's friend has that white Corvette, which is really cool. He let us borrow that. So I was like, okay, we have a Corvette. That's some production value.
There you go.
And I just basically invited my friends out. I was like, we're just going to rollerblade and skate and vibe it out. I didn't want to give it too much direction. I just wanted my friends to come and have fun. And I think you can feel that in the video.
No, and if you know what, it feels authentic and like just like a vibe and chilling. And to me, I would be like, number one, if I'm like chilling at I think about like in New York City, like a lounge or a bar, and I would hear this, I'd be chilling with my drink, and I would just, just like kind of like immediately, like when I would hear this, I would start rhyming with it because it was so like in the pocket, like ooh, like, and that's what I envision, and I could see people just loving it. So
yeah, it's just kind of like a fun summer vibe. It's a good song to drive around to. That's why I think the car was a fun element.
Right.
Fun scream for the get on my face, like when you're in
I love that part.
It's just very it feels very liberating, and that's everybody's favorite part, which is kind of funny because everyone's like, I've never heard you sound like that at all.
No, and that's what was nice.
I'm very like controlled with my emotions. I think like Aquarius moon, I'm kind of like distant. I'm off in a whole nother universe, 10 light years ahead. But every now and again, something will bring me down, and it just pops out, and people are like, wow, I didn't see that coming.
No, and you know what, Farah, that I think to me that goes back to the Uranus. But I want to talk about two other placements. And I do, I've heard quite a few of your songs now, and I just love the vibe and energy. But I was thinking about your Venus and Cancer in the 8th house, and then the Libra midheaven in the 11th house. And I feel like there is definitely, you push the buttons, but you've got your finger on the pulse of like kind of relationships and female empowerment. And is that very intentional for you? I mean, I know that, we talked about the Goddess song.
Very much.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
Very, very much. But, I have to do it in a way that is fun for me. But my idea of female empowerment is each woman being individual, and being what works for her. That's another part of the song. Yeah. So I'm just like, I'm a little bit of a provocateur. I'm kind of mischievous. I like to be raunchy with my lyrics. Yeah. But if you are, if you want to be a librarian or like a housewife, like that is female empowerment too. Like you have to follow what's right for you. And so I do female empowerment in my own brand, but it shows itself in a lot of ways. And I think what is powerful is it's just me being honest about what I'm going through. And I think that's what resonates with women and men too. Men really like my music as well. But I would say just me stepping up and being on stage and being proud when I'm talking about, you know, when I felt like ashamed. I've got a song called Bad Seed where it's all about me feeling unworthy of love. When I met my husband, like I'm a bad seed. You don't want me, from past relationship traumas, feeling like I wasn't good enough or I wasn't going to be a good partner. So I'm very vulnerable about stuff like that.
That's deep. Yeah.
You know, insecurities. But then the next moment I'm going to be like, now I'm feeling powerful. And I think that's how everyone is. I don't think that we're always feeling powerful. I think that
the ebbs and flows, right, of our own emotions. Yeah.
So I think that part of what I do is just letting women know it's okay. It's okay to have all these different feelings. It's okay to be married and write a beautiful love song about devotion to my husband and then write a really like slutty, raunchy song. You know, it's like, it doesn't mean that I'm out there.
How does your husband, how does he vibe and feel about that?
He is a Gemini as well. He's a very open-minded man.
Yeah.
He himself is a feminist as well. So he's just like, babe, you just do you. He's never been restrictive about that. And he's not a jealous guy. And I know you've seen his chart as well. So.
Yeah, no, you guys are like, I mean, I love you guys together. Obviously, I met you and your husband through your mother and doing your charts. And, you know, it's really, it's exciting for me. You know what I mean? Because to see a chart, but then to see how a person works it, dances in their chart and their destined path and kind of manifests it. Like, I love that Neptune Capricorn. I love the Uranus on your ascendant. I love, even with some of your lyrics, it's very Venus and Cancer, right? Because it's that duality in a sense. The Venus and Cancer, people are like, oh, look at her. She's so sweet. She must be Betty Crocker and she makes her husband brownies and cupcakes. And then you're like, you know, I'm gonna work.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I do that. And then I also do this. That's the fun part. And that's what I think is really important. And I think it's really important for masculinity too. Like, I think that men are put into boxes and it's not really fair for them, and all these expectations, and you have to be this way and you can't show your emotions and you can't share how you're feeling.
No, we have a lot of rules too. It's I don't think either gender has been allowed to just emote and be on the full spectrum of their own individual humanity.
Yeah.
And I think as a society and even through culture and art forms, we're headed there, but it's a slow process. And I think the key is for people like you and myself to just show up, right? Age of Aquarius, love, gratitude, you got to throw in joy and authenticity. Those are really the 4 highest frequencies, and authenticity has been measured scientifically in studies as the highest frequency. You can only be Farah Shea, and that's more than enough.
Yeah.
Dope, you know?
Yeah, it's like, you know, when you were talking about when we were doing my chart and just a generational thing with the millennials, like the Pluto and Scorpio, that is our job, is to point out these issues. We don't have the solutions per se.
Well, that's what I tell your generation. You got it. You can identify it. You know what the F is wrong, but then you got to do the hard work.
Yeah.
Because you know why? You guys are up to bat. Starting November 19th, when Pluto goes back into Aquarius, for the next 20 years, you guys are going to step up to the stage and lead the world. And unfortunately, I think Pluto Leo has failed you guys in terms of nurturing and teaching and caring. And I think my generation, Pluto Virgo, and I'm at the tail end of it, but, you know, Gen Xers, and some of the early Pluto Virgos are probably still kind of in that baby boom, but the Gen Xers, which is a little bit of Pluto Libra as well, and the Pluto Virgo, I think it's our job to kind of like push you, but to help you and to guide you and nurture all the power that you guys have. Because one thing about Pluto Scorpio, millennials, Gen Y, what you guys really master is the money, power, sex. Like, you guys have that. Like, I think millennials know how to like manifest and make the money, and they sometimes, you guys, you know, maybe to a fault, it depends on the person, can lead with the power and the sex too much. But at the same time, it's the archetype of Pluto Scorpio. So
Yeah.
then there's got to be that soul psychology, the introspection to heal the pain, trauma, and crises from childhood and past lives. So then you can what? Soar
Yeah.
like the eagle, because you
Yeah.
guys are powerful and amazing, and you're doing it, my friend.
Yeah.
You're
Well, you know
really
what?
doing it.
The pendulum's swinging, so maybe we're gonna push it a little, maybe too far to one side, but it's gonna come and even out.
It's-
And yeah, so
You're working it. You work that shit
yeah.
because it works for me.
I work that shit because it works for me, and I try to make fun music that speaks to women, but literally anyone could relate to. A lot of my fans are men too, and there's just something for everyone, because that's how I feel as a person. You know, it's just the duality with the Gemini, and I feel so many different types of ways all the time. So to just only be one way, it wouldn't be authentic.
I
It
love
wouldn't
that.
be genuine.
So, okay, before we wrap it up, I am curious, have you done not just like on social media duets, but actual songs? Have you featured on other people's tracks? Have you
I have been
done?
featured on other people's tracks, but they haven't been like wildly popular artists. But I do have people that reach out for features. I've done, I've done a couple actually that were popular DJ features, where it was like an electronic DJ.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, one of those was actually pretty big in Australia. It was an Australian DJ. That was the first feature that I ever did. And it was a song called "Dope Like Me," and that one was big in Australia. It was on the top, like they have their own chart system. It's called the ARIA charts, and it was in the top 10 dance tracks for like.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay,
Yeah,
congrats.
so
I like
one
that.
started in Australia, and it was on like Spotify, like viral songs and stuff.
Now, could they find that on your Spotify here?
Yeah, they'll be able to find it. They'll be able
Okay.
to find it, because if you scroll down on Spotify, it'll say also featured on. So you'll see
Oh.
"Dope Like Me," and that one is like a straight, like almost like a house track.
Okay, I love house
Like
music.
house music. But I've also been featured on another rapper song. I just did one recently that was like, I did part French, part English, because he's a Canadian rapper, and the hook that he had was in French, and I was like,
Oh,
oh
I
my
was going to
God,
ask, are you bilingual?
I'm a little bit bilingual. Like I'm not as they say en français, je suis pas couramment. Je parle français, mais pas parfaitement. Assez bien pour une conversation, mais pas parfait.
So when I went to Paris in '04, my buddy that I went with, he had taken French in high school, so he could speak a little bit. I bought the CD. I'm learning, but I tell you this, I wasn't going to be like the arrogant Americans. When I went there, the fact that I tried, they gave me mad love and props and respected me, and they were like, and then afterwards they were like, okay, and then they started speaking English to me.
Yeah.
But I think that's what, just like how you talked about being a guest to hip hop, that's how I feel human beings, but even Americans especially, because they can be seen as pompous and arrogant when they travel, thinking everybody should speak English. And it's like, no, you go to someone else's country, at least try the basics. Yeah. And the fact that I did, it gave me a lot of love and props. And then, even, as a matter of fact, you mentioned him earlier, Pharrell, we were at a club and Pharrell was there at the club. We were in France or whatever that night. So it's actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
They're like, Pharrell Williams is coming, move the line, Pharrell is coming. I was like, okay. I was like, whatever. So it was just kind of funny when we were there.
That must have been a fun night. If Pharrell's there, I can imagine.
He's a cool dude, and it was a fun night. I didn't get to like hang or chill with him because the place was packed, and there was a ton of girls around him. But it was a vibe though, and we had a good time. And I did London, Amsterdam, and Paris, and it was just all dope. And I was rhyming everywhere, and people loved it. So
first of all, French people love hip hop.
Oh yeah.
They're obsessed with it. They love American music. They love American culture.
Yeah.
It's like you said, it's the rude, arrogant American mentality that they don't love.
Exactly.
But at the same time, I always try to tell people, and also like Paris is like New York, where they're a little bit more brash. They're a little bit more abrasive. Other parts of France are, they're a lot more like friendly and stuff. But
right.
I always try to tell people, I was like, just imagine all day, every day, people just coming up and speaking French to you. Like, it would get annoying after a while. And especially because a lot of people in France, I studied abroad there.
Oh,
A
wow.
lot of people don't speak English. It's not that they're choosing to just be like,
Right, yeah, they
but
don't even
they
speak
just
it,
don't
exactly.
speak
Yeah.
English. They just like, it's not like Scandinavia. I have cousins that live in Stockholm and they grew up speaking English perfectly. It's not like Germany or Scandinavia where they have a really good language program in their schools. A lot of people, unless they were going to a good school,
Right, they speak French and they may speak even Dutch or Spanish, but they
or
don't speak English.
they'll speak a little bit, but unless
Yeah.
they're like in hospitality, I think people at restaurants, they try to learn French, they
Right,
try to
right.
learn English, but like the average everyday person, like I had a boyfriend when I was living in Paris. I dated this guy. He didn't speak a word of English, and he was like, my generation, like maybe 8 years older than me, and I was
Okay.
just like, wow, even I thought the younger generation spoke English better, and he was like, nah. He's like, unless you were like really good in school.
Oh my gosh, that's real though.
And the people that do speak English, they want to speak English with you. And in fact, I find almost I get insulted because I'll start speaking French to people, and then once they find out I'm American, then they speak English back to me, and I'm like, I'm in France, I'm trying to speak
I'm
French.
trying to pay homage and
Yeah,
respect
so
you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just speak French to me. If I don't understand or I'm confused with something, I'll tell you that. And even when I deal with French people in America, because I work at a hotel one night a week at the lounge,
Okay.
if they are speaking English pretty well, I just speak English to them. If I can tell they don't speak French at all, English at all, then I'll speak French with them and I'll help them. But I always want to give people the benefit of the doubt. When I'm in a country, if I've been practicing the language, I want to use it. You know what I mean?
I love
So I
that.
think people have like a misconception about the French in general.
So, in wrapping up, talking about hip hop and your direction and your music and where we're going spiritually, right? And just this time, where do you see your music going? And how are you feeling about all these transitions and changes spiritually?
Well, I have a song that's going to be coming out. I don't know if it'll be my next single or the one after, called Dance or Cry. It's very emo. It's not actually, it doesn't sound like an emo rock song, but it is emotional. And it's about, I think, where a lot of us are right now, which is just feeling almost a little bit helpless, a little bit, a lot of bit sad about all the pain and heartbreak that's going on all around the world.
Yeah.
Whether it be whatever is going on in Palestine, Israel, or Congo, or Sudan, or just the state of the environment. There's just a lot of things that, like, when I go online, I just see so many people. First, at least we're conscious of it now, and that's the first step.
Right.
And I think that we're moving towards fixing those problems together with globalization, people online, like just this discourse we're having right now.
Yeah.
Things are moving so much faster than ever before, but there's this feeling of being overwhelmed, of there's so much information out at the same time. Like, you can just be scrolling and just see so much pain and trauma, and it affects us very deeply. And like, we'll see later on in generations to come how it really has affected our psyche. We don't even really know the full effect that all of this is having on us. So the song Dance or Cry is about that feeling of, I don't know if I need to just bawl or just go to the club and dance my ass off. Like, that's kind of how I feel sometimes. And so the lyrics are, I don't know, I don't know if I should dance or cry. It just might be both. Where you're just like, maybe I'm just crying and dancing. It's just this emotional release where I just see all of this trauma. And then I talk about days of old, and I talk about it in a kind of like a very poetic way. But there's the lyrics where I say, I think of times of old. I think of blood and steel. I think of times of old, they never had it chill, and still they played their part in exercise of will. So it's talking about, like, that there's never really been peace. Humans have always been in turmoil. In fact, we're more peaceful now than ever before, really. There's just been always bloodshed and always conquerors, and somehow people still manage to make the most amazing art and literature, and their lives were probably even more difficult than ours are today. And somehow they managed to find beauty and art in it. So that's kind of what the song is about, is like, even when things seem so dark, maybe you can still find beauty. And there's a lyric where it says, is it so wrong to find the hope inside the flames? Is it so wrong to think that maybe we could change?
Yeah.
So it's like, I get emotional even just talking about it. I feel like I want to go dance and cry.
Well, pain creates some of the best art, right?
Yeah.
It really does. I wrote a song, my first album, called Depression, and I feel like I was going through a stage of depression, and I had to write myself and rhyme myself out of it.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't no going to therapy and medicine, and not saying
Yeah.
that stuff is bad, but
Yeah.
for me, that was my medicine.
Yeah.
That was
My
my
medicine,
connection to
the
God, and
catharsis, getting it out.
write and rhyme, and so, oh my God, Farah, this has been so much fun. You touch my heart, and I just love when someone loves my first love. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you're very talented. Please never stop. And let me know if you're willing to come back on and go live with the audience.
Oh
And
yeah, that would be fun.
and let's do this with the live one, because I think that they would really, I got a very loyal following, and
Mhm.
people, I'm always rhyming. So like, to really because after they see this and then you come back, maybe, later on
Oh
in the
yeah,
year.
I could set up my little mic and like get it official. I could get my little amp over here.
Oh, wow. You
Or I
really
could go
want
to
to
a
do it big.
rehearsal.
I like that.
Yeah. I would totally be down.
Okay, I'm going to hold you to that. That
Yeah.
would be super, super dope. I don't know if we do it Virgo season, Libra season. We'll feel it out, and you'll let me know. Keep me updated with when you've got a couple of these new songs that you're working on.
Yeah.
When they're ready, that would be really
Because I
dope.
told you one of them has some astrological references in it as
Oh,
well.
yes. Okay, so then you definitely. Well, then you already know. Then it's a date. It's a date. And okay, but also share all your information again. And what if, and also if people want to email you and want to collab or whatever,
Yeah.
just share everything
So
again. And I'll have it all in the description down below for everybody. But go ahead and you share and
it's
say what
easy
you
to
want
get in contact with me. I do check my DMs on Instagram, but also if you go to my Instagram, and also on my TikTok, you'll see on my little beacons link, I have a thing with my email. It's contact@farahshea.com.
Okay.
So yeah, email me if, like I said, people email me about features and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But for the most part, I try to do the features as long as it's like something that fits in with my vision.
Right.
But yeah, I also I've been performing a lot at parties, like private parties, birthday parties lately.
Oh, I was going to ask you that. Where do you perform live? And okay, that's cool. So people can book you for.
Yeah, you can book me. And if you're in the Los Angeles area, I play shows quite a lot. I'm doing a show on Thursday with a side project that I'm in called the Wave Lords, and I rap in their band. So I'm like one of the members of their band, and I rap in some of their songs.
Oh,
so that was fun. And you'll see all of that on my Instagram. I probably post the very most on Instagram. Farah_Shea. I also post on TikTok quite a lot. I try to keep each one a little different, so you're getting different content on each platform. And then you get all of my original music on my Spotify. And that one's great because, like I said, there's like 12 or 13 songs, so you're bound to find something that really speaks to you.
Okay. Now, do you also have, because you mentioned it, contact@farahshea.com. Is that your website, farahshea.com?
I do have a website. It's super simple. It's basically just like a landing page that has the link to all my socials. But it's there. I got that. I got the name.
That's awesome. Well, my friend, this has been super dope.
It's been so fun. I'm very honored because I know you have some pretty amazing guests on here from the other ones I watched. I was like, wow, I'm honored that he would even pick me to be on this show.
Of course. Well, listen, to me, I think, and I don't blow smoke up people's butts. I'm very real. I'm a Cap Moon, Virgo Sun, Scorpio Rising. But to me, I always feel people's energy, right? As the Scorpio rising, right? I can see people's hearts and their souls. And so whether you're like some big spiritual guru person or whoever, I've had, a lot of great people on, but I think you're equally as great as well, because you're pure, you're authentic, but you're a female MC who's just doing it, and the ways that you do it, it shines, and then your heart and soul shine. So for me, that was real and authentic for me. So I was just like, and I didn't even tell you this before, but I was thinking about it, back after or around the time when I did your chart reading. And I'm just like, but then when I started to, connect and hear your music and do your husband's chart, then I was like, okay, I got to do a song with her. And then I was thinking, yeah, but she's also got to come on the podcast. So it's been in the brewing, in the making, and now we're here. And then we'll even do it again in the fall. I can't wait.
Live, baby.
Thank you, my friend. This has been an honor.
Biggie.
You're welcome. All right, you guys, thank you for watching episode 222. You know how we do. Knowledge is Love Astrology Podcast. Big E equal pleat and Farah Shea just for you. Peace.